what do you think about people that say that ministers and pastors are only in it for the money and only in it just to get a tax relief? You know, the churches don't have to pay taxes. That's a law by the federal government. But some people think that, you know, and there are some crooks that do it. You know, there are. I'm sure there are pastors that do that. But what do you say to the people that say that all pastors are like that?
Well, I tell my church this: I don't get paid a salary. I work, bro. I work. I got bills. I work. I don't take no money from the church. Um, I can't respond to all the other pastors that are getting paid. It's a full time job, just like any job that you go to. But I'm gonna tell you this now: before you say all, you got to do your investigation, because not all of them are, big mega churches. Okay, there's some pastors that get paid, but not all of us do, man. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't take a salary. I don't get a dime from the church. Now sometimes people walk up to me and they, hey bro, here you go, man. Go get you a burger or something. That's an individual offering, um, and or individual gift, if you want to say it like this. So for those that are nitpicking about all the pastors are, they got a tax write off and all this well, um, I'm gonna tell you like this: there's a lot of companies, big mega companies, that get tax write off. You know, and ain't nobody crying about them CEOs. Ain't nobody crying about them people that own the big companies that that have the tax write off, the big billionaires that get away with all that money sometimes.
They,
You know,
like
we,
the Coca-Cola, they're still drinking Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola got a big tax write-off.
you know, ain't nobody complaining about that. Uh, but it's and for those people that complain about the church, about how the pastors are stealing or taking money, I'm just gonna tell you like this: uh, you're entitled to your opinion, and your opinion may mean a lot to you, but you can't be closed-minded to not hear other opinions, because the Bible tells me that iron sharpens iron. And so when you are talking about a pastor that's getting paid, m- you know, if you have a full-time job, there's no way in the world that you're going to put on a McDonald's uniform and walk into a Burger King and say, "Hey, okay, I'm here to work." They're going to look at you like, "What? You got the wrong uniform, cuz you got the step." So, you know, you work, you get paid for what you do at your job. Now, let me ask you another simple little question. You talking about pastors, they just, want to get paid. Well, think about this now. When you go apply at a job, I don't care what job it is, you agree to the terms of that job. And nowhere on that job application did it tell you that you was gonna get a raise. But then all of a sudden now you talking about, man, they gotta give me a raise, so I ain't gonna do. No, you agreed to the terms, and the terms were you're gonna get paid $22 an hour for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. That was the terms. Yeah, man, but I've been here this long. Nowhere on that application did you put yourself, hey man, I need a raise after 2 years. No, you agreed. And I know you say, well, you're going to another direction. No, I'm just telling you, that's what you agreed to get paid. And a lot of these pastors agree to get paid. They work for a big mega church. They're employed by the church, and they have the pastor has to give tax. He's got to do his income tax too, bro. He don't get away with it. He got to do his income tax. The church got to do their income tax too, and all that. You might say, well, they never pay. You have to, under federal law, is to show in case the IRS does an audit on you. You got to show proof of what you've been doing with all that money. And so don't come up to me talking about, well, all the pastors, all they want money. I'm not declining that. I'm not saying that, because you got this prosperity preaching, and all they preach about it. If you give this much, the Lord says, Philippians 4:13, that you're gonna have, okay, so now I want you to give $4.13. Nah, come on now. Wake up. In no such thing like that happens. Or Joshua 19, whatever, and now you got to give nine. No, man, those are what we call prosperity preaching. And if you're gullible enough, and then you're gonna give the $19. But if you're not gullible enough, don't give it. Hey, if you don't give it, what's it to you? But because when you wonder what they're doing with that money next time, for y'all that don't go to church and you're listening to what I'm saying, and you go buy some beer and stuff like that, or some wine or alcohol or your drugs or whatever, you don't ask that person, hey man, what you doing with my money?
Mm-hmm.
You don't go ask the Budweiser, man, I spent $20 for a case of beer. What you do with that $20? I don't see you doing that, man. So what gives you the right to go ask the church what they're doing with that money? Now,
Mm-hmm.
you got a right to ask anything you want to. You live in the United States of America, where you have freedom to ask. But just because they don't satisfy the question that the answer that to the question that you gave, that don't mean that they're doing something wrong with it. It just means that you wanted to hear something else, and they didn't tell you what you wanted to hear. So now you all upset. You now wake up, man. Wake up.